As soon as you leave the armed forces, you lose three things overnight. Your forces family, your purpose and your identity. Vodafone gave me that back instantly. My resettlement was really bumpy. So 4 years really I was in the wilderness, missing the Navy like mad.
And that growth as well, I think, is like accelerated in the startup world.
The mentality I adopt is not why me, it's what now. You've got 4 kids, Jim. Are you mad? You could go back into a corporate job and earn 6 figures really easily. So what are you doing this for?
Welcome to episode 8 of the Mission to Mission podcast. I'm Ben Reed, and this week we welcome Jim, or something I affectionately know as Jimbo. Welcome, Jim.
Great to be here, Ben. Thanks for the invite. Really looking forward to the next 25 to 30 minutes.
Great. So I'm going to talk about a bit about Jim's background. So he spent 13 years in the Royal Navy. He's a weapons engineer, artificer. It's a mouthful. He then moved into big business. So he spent 8 years at Vodafone, spent nearly 3 years at Sky. He was a head of retail sales. Then moved to London Stansted Airport as the head of commercial. And then Jim switched away from the corporate life to start a startup called Karma, who are an eco-tech business in the sustainability space. Do you want to give me a bit of a rundown, Jim?
Yeah, absolutely, Ben. And there's bits you missed from that. It's obviously stuff I don't put on LinkedIn. So I'm very fortunate. Best decision I ever made was leaving Barnsley when I was 17 and joining His Majesty's Royal Navy. 13 wonderful years, travelling the world and upskilling myself. I turned my 3 rubbish O-levels into a degree in computing, a HND in electronic engineering, played an inordinate amount of rugby, did Brickwood's field gun 4 times, loved the sport. All of a sudden I got injured, medically discharged from the Navy, went back to Barnsley. I thought the world was at my feet, and it was the worst decision I ever made in my entire life, because Barnsley, in those 13 years when I'd been away, getting upskilled, learning all about myself, all about the world, Barnsley hadn't moved on. There was very little opportunity. So I did what any self-respecting matlow does, who's got a couple of quid in his pocket. I bought a town centre pub. And I had 2 years raving, and it was absolutely amazing. Best 2 years of my life, absolutely wonderful. Party house, funky house pub, town centre, 22 barmaids, 6 DJs, 4 doormen. It was full on, brilliant. But it was costing me roughly 10 grand a month. At the end of 2 years, I'd lost £180,000. No, I hadn't lost a lot of integrity, but I was in pretty bad shape mentally, a bit shaken up, and it all went a little bit south. And I had a really bumpy resettlement. And what I didn't realise at the time was I was missing being in the Navy and everything, all the trappings that come with that regimented lifestyle, knowing where you've got to be, knowing what you've got to do, being trained to within an inch of your life. But I was very fortunate. One of my friends rung me up and he said, how are you getting on? I said, mate, I'm on the bones of my arse. He said, what? He said, you're the best qualified out of all of us. I said, I can't get a job. There's no opportunity. He said, would you consider moving to? And I went, yes. He said, well, I haven't told you where yet, Jim. I said, well, as long as there's an opportunity, I'm coming, Steve. And I ended up at Vodafone as a Unix engineer. His boss rang me up, sent him my CV. He said, look, I'm looking for a Unix engineer. Your CV's brilliant, Jim. You're really well qualified. He said, but you haven't got anything about Unix. What do you know about Unix? I said, hand on heart, Mike. I've just Googled it. There's 48 commands. How hard can it be? And he just started laughing. And he said, come down. He said, come and have an interview. 3 weeks later, I rocked up at Vodafone. And that was my resettlement. What I hadn't realised is that what was missing. As soon as you leave the armed forces, you lose 3 things overnight. Your forces family, your purpose and your identity. Vodafone gave me that back instantly. I'd got a role. I'd got a mission. That was part of the vision. Clear objectives. And I just smashed it. And I settled in and just... I was there 8 years. I had 6 roles within 8 years. And then went to Sky, like you said. I was head of quality and compliance first, then head of retail sales. I left there and went to Stansted Airport as head of commercial. And it all came to a standstill, literally, during COVID. We went from moving 100,000 passengers a day down to 12. Not 12,000, but 12 passengers. There was literally 3 sheep and a shepherd in the airport. So... and it was great. I was part of the senior leadership team and part of the decision-making process. And, yeah, the decision was made. I was furloughed for 6 months. The best 6 months of my life. I was on 90% of my pay. My boss rang me up and said, how are you getting on? I said, look, It's like this. I'm spending all the time, every single day, with people I want to spend time with, and no time at all with people who I don't like. So I don't know how to take that. So take it how you want. It's brilliant. I love it. And just time to rethink and reset.
I was speaking about COVID the other day, about how we discovered like walks in our local area that we didn't even know. We'd lived there for 3 years. We didn't even know there was these amazing walks all around the area, and that we just not. It'd just give you something. I know there's some terrible things happened through it, but it was definitely an experience, wasn't it?
Absolutely. And what it gave us all was perspective, and it gave us all time to work out what was and what wasn't important in our lives. Like you, I found this woodland, a 500-acre woodland. It was like 20-minute walk from my house. And I could literally take my dogs, Vic and Bob, the gruesome twosome, get them off the leads and walk for 6 miles without putting them back on the leads before. I didn't even know I was there, and I'd lived there 5 years. It was lunacy. And it just gave us time just to reconnect with each other as a family, reconnect with ourselves, and just take a breather. And no, not everyone was fortunate enough to get that breathing time and that headspace, but it really fundamentally changed my life in the way that I could see it unfolding, and what the purpose that I wanted to achieve moving forward. And it was wonderful. Great time.
I think knowing you for a while now, I think you're somebody who'll find purpose in anything he's doing, anywhere. But you moved from this head of commercial at Stansted Airport to running an eco-tech startup funded, it'd be good to know just a little bit more about what Karma do. But then how have you ended up in this kind of super purposeful, I know you can find purpose at Stansted Airport, but this is really, really purposeful, mission driven, right? Like it's a big challenge as well.
Yeah.
Like what?
So if we rewind a bit, so Karma's short for Carbon Karma. It's Karma with a C. And we're a digital platform that connects businesses and consumers to afforestation, reforestation, recalping projects. We did carbon offsetting. We're a single pane view of a company or an individual's ESG and sustainability endeavours. We've built this portal. You can go on there and see the impact you're making in terms of your carbon footprint, but more importantly, what you're doing to address that, how you're contributing to the problem that is carbon. So we've built that, but it all came about really, again, during COVID. I got time to reflect on. I've had such a brilliant life. At the time I was in my late 40s. I've done everything I wanted to do. I've got 4 kids, 4 girls who kept me busy, and for me, it's all about them now. I've done, everything I've ever wanted to do. And I'm thinking, right, there's got to be more to life than this. And I've reflected, and tragically, I lost a Royal Navy Rugby League teammate to suicide. Just over 15 years ago, a guy called Nigel Burkitt, wonderful kid, went through my apprenticeship within 4 years, great rugby player, really, really, really good rugby player, strong guy. And found out he'd gone. We all went to the funeral as a team. We didn't speak to each other, but we all turned up there. And above and beyond that, we didn't do anything. 15 years had gone by, 14 years it was then. And COVID gave us that opportunity to get together, and 5 of us got together, and we formed a charity called In Touch Royal Navy Rugby League. And In Touch is built on 3 pillars: reset, reconnect, relive. Reset, all about helping people on that transition who have played rugby league at a senior level in the Navy. Reconnect, reaching out and talking to your old teammates, making sure they're okay, physically and mentally. And relive, get together once or twice a year, have a game of Masters Rugby League and a meal and a beer, and remember how good or bad you were 25 years ago. And it's brilliant. It's opened up so many doors.
Were you good or bad?
Very bad.
You bad?
Yeah, I was very bad. But fortunately, I was better at rugby league than I was at rugby union, because I wasn't very good at passing the ball. It's a bit like Forrest Gump, throw the ball and I'll just keep running with it until someone stops me. But I was good at tackling, a lot better at tackling than I was at ball handling.
I took you off track there, sorry, go on.
Yeah, you took me off track. Edit that bit out.
No,
I'm sure
there's no editing in.
Come on. Yeah, come on. So, so we did that. And one of the players, I admired this guy greatly as a rugby league player, a guy called Andy Steele, who was a captain when I joined. Great player. He could pass both ways. I mean, how good's that, right? And I knew when Andy had left the Navy, he'd moved out to Bangkok. And he'd started the Plant a Tree Today Foundation because we were connected on Facebook. I think we were connected on LinkedIn as well at the time. And we had sort of loose contact. But I'm talking to him. And I'm thinking, he's in Bangkok. Got one of these blurred backgrounds. I don't know if you remember, but in Zoom, everyone had a blurred background. So they were either sat in the downstairs toilet working or in the front room with an ironing power behind them. He'd got this blurred background. I said, so, Andy, are you still out in Bangkok, mate? He went, no. I've moved from Bangkok back to Hull. I said, you've moved from Bangkok to Hull? I said, they only invented Hull to make Barnsley look like Las Vegas. Why would they do that? And he's like, well, I had to come home sometime. I said, so what are you doing? I said, you've got the Pat Foundation. He said, oh, we're still planting trees, Jim. So we're still planting trees, but he said, planting trees in the UK. I said, oh, wow, tell me more. He said, you won't realise this, Jim. He said, but 10% of people leaving the armed forces struggle to find employment straight away, and a further 15% need a hand up. I said, not a hand out, Jim, but a hand up within the first 2 years. I went, let me stop you there. Why wouldn't I know that? He said, well, you've done all right, Lofty. I said, mate, I've done all right now. He said, but my resettlement was really bumpy. I said, 4 years, really, I was in the wilderness, missing the Navy like mad. He went, wow. He said, well, you're going to love this. He said, so what we're doing in the UK, I've started the Green Task Force, which is the commercial arm of the Pat Foundation. And the Green Task Force, we employ veterans and service leavers and provide them with positive pathways to employment through nature-based tasks. He said we clear woodlands, we plant trees, we even do litter picking, clear canals, ground maintenance. He said some of the guys and girls have got PTSD. Everyone as a bare minimum gets a vocational qualification in horticulture. And then we work with recruiters and employers to get them back on the employment ladder once they've got an emotional and a physical backstop in the Green Task Force. I went, mate, that's epic. I said, how can I get involved? And he just looked at me and he laughed. He went, well, you can't plant trees, Lofty. I was there when you hurt your back. I said, what thinking about planting trees? How can I help your business? And he said, well, the mechanics are simple, Jim. The more trees we get to plant, the more veterans and service leavers we can help, and the more environmental impact we have. And I went, let me come back to you. And I came back a few days later and I went, look, I'm going to create a digital platform that connects businesses and consumers to afforestation and reforestation projects all around the world. And you're going to be my exclusive supplier in the UK. And he just laughed. He went, go on then, Lofty. Do that again. And he just laughed. And he said, go on then, Lofty. And we did. We built this platform. And gone from there, and it's grown and grown and grown. We're in year 3 now.
How did you go about that?
So at first we built a platform on WordPress, and we started selling trees, created partnerships, started reaching out to contacts, people I knew.
When you said built a platform on WordPress, so for the people who've got, you know what that means, right? They've got a good idea.
Yes, an e-commerce.
Who does that for you?
At the time, we did it ourselves. It was a bit of a high school project, but WordPress, it's an e-commerce platform. It's a solution to build up a website where you can trade on it.
Yeah.
And we did that, and I did a load of outreach to people I knew. I put in a very little bit of cash to see if there was a market. And then straight away, we were doing corporate tree planting days with some big businesses. One of the first bits of business we won, CBRE. Italian Silvestre came and planted with us. Starbucks planted with us in year 1. We're like, wow, there's a market here. And then I met the co-founder of Karma, Ian Gurney, who came along to the party. Brilliant at tech. We've built our own bespoke platform now. And we're doing things in the carbon offsetting space and really casting the net further to attract more customers.
Like, how do you go about figuring out what to do next?
It's such a weird space to be in. I mean, you're spinning so many plates as a startup founder. So fundamentally, cash is king. So you've got to chase the money while building the tech. Now, a bit of a different situation to you because we've got 2 founders. So Ian is the brains of the show. He does all the back office stuff. He builds a platform, makes sure that it stands up for the customers. I'm out there hunting for new customers, taking the lead on marketing in terms of brand, look and feel. And you do that. I mean, a 14-hour day is the norm. You're working hard. You never switch off when you're a startup founder.
You're just constantly thinking about it.
Yeah. And we're focusing on cash flow, focusing on marketing, focusing on sales, focusing on nurturing the pipeline, developing the pipeline, and just
developing the team.
I mean, we've been so fortunate. One of the best hires, well, the best hire, in my opinion, came from yourself. Someone you used to work with in the army, Kevin. He's been absolutely brilliant. Landed in Karma. First sales role took him about 6 to 7 months to get his head around exactly where he can add the most value and how to do it, and absolutely performing. A great example of a veteran applying himself in a working environment and succeeding.
What advice would you give to people then who are looking to set up their own business? Like, what is that process? You've got a good idea. What would you do? Just get people, go and speak to people? Was it like, because you don't just fall upon Ian Gurney, your co-founder, right? Like they don't just approach you. You don't get these already. I know semi know Ian's background, and he's a successful founder previously, right? He's been there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
What do you do? Put yourself out there? Is that the?
It's all about being out there, having a presence, networking, and just going back to your initial question, how do you start? So you've got to have an idea, you've got to have a concept. Speak to people. Look, I've got this business idea. What do you think? Some people go, yeah. Other people go, yeah, it's all right, but what's the need? What problem are you solving in the marketplace? Other people who are more logical say, right, show me a spreadsheet. How do the numbers work? What you buying? What you selling? What are the margins? How many times can you do that a week? Does it stack up? Is it going to put dinner on the table at the end of the week? You've got 4 kids, Jim. Are you mad? You could go back into a corporate job and earn 6 figures really easily. So what are you doing this for? A question I ask myself I don't ask myself that every day, but every now and again when the chips are down, I'm like, oh, I could be having it really easy in corporate life. But that's what makes us different, right? It's the fact that we're willing to roll the dice, and the idea is good, and there is a market there, and we're willing to take that risk, do the hard yards, because eventually, one day, it might get a bit easier.
My wife doesn't think that.
Does she not?
No, she just thinks I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
I don't think she does. Like, deep down, I don't think she does. But I know that it's a step change. People just think running a business means you got loads of cash, and like it's actually the complete opposite. You pay yourself as little as you possibly can.
Exactly.
And get your 2.5-year-old to live off Asda dried noodles.
Really?
No, I'm not joking.
You use Lidl, don't you?
I'm not an Asda guy. Like, it's too expensive in there. Lidl. Aldi.
Aldi, yeah. Now, which is your choice there?
I'd prefer Aldi.
Really?
It's I think it's difficult to get around Lidl.
Well, yeah, Lidl's difficult to get around. However, it's got a better loyalty scheme than Aldi.
Really?
Yeah. My wife gets a free croissant and a pat on the head every time she goes to. Yeah, she's got a flat head. But I get what you're saying, and what makes us different. And I think this really goes back to the military. We're prepared to make sacrifices for success. Let that settle in. We're prepared to make a sacrifice to get success.
Yeah. It's challenging. What would you say is the step change from going from corporate to startup? Like, because I don't think you get there's enough information for people getting out.
Yeah.
To understand what it's like to land in Sky versus what it's like to land in a 10-person startup. It's obviously different.
Absolutely.
What are your experiences from going from that world to this world?
So, in a corporate, you're well and truly in 2 comfort zones. One, you're on. You know what's expected of you, or you should do if you've got a good boss, what your objectives are. You know what you're going to earn at the end of every month. Secondly, you're in the corporate comfort zone because they know. They've got an established business. They know what you're going to be doing. They're putting all the steps and procedures and the checks and balances to make sure that they're getting the best out of you. Hopefully, you're being managed, you're being paid. They give you a working environment. And it's really warm and friendly and cuddly, and the wheels can't come off at any moment. It's really safe. Startup world, It's anything but linear. The cacophony of emotions that I go through on a daily basis are just sometimes obscene. I can sit at my desk at 7 o'clock in the morning, post meditation.
I'm ready to tackle the day.
Yes, and write my list out, and then the first email will come in at 9:05 when the corporate guys have got up, they scratched their ass, had a coffee, looking at the emails that they got 4 days ago that they've started and they're getting back to, and go, yeah, just going to pull the wheels off your truck here and ask you a really tricky question just to set your day up. They're like, oh, brilliant. But you know what? It's worth it, because the minute you land a big deal or something wonderful happens in the company, you get your B Corp score, and you're like, yes, we're doing the right thing, we're making a difference. You see in some of the impact you're having in terms of working with impoverished communities out in Kenya and providing jobs for people who wouldn't normally have jobs, so helping them with a social mobility so they can send the kids to school, replanting the mangrove forest that they've chopped down 20 years ago to make charcoal, and restoring the natural habitats and the fishing so the guys can go and hunt again. It's just like, it's worth, all that makes it worth it. It's not just about the money. It's about what you're achieving as an individual and as a business.
It's so true. And that growth as well, I think, is like accelerated in the startup world. Yeah. I think you just, because you're going at such a pace and you're spinning plates, like you said earlier on, you're just learning so much. Well, you're failing so much.
Yeah.
Really. You're making mistakes.
We call it failing forward.
Yeah.
Because every time you make a mistake, you learn something, but you move forward. Because what option you got? You have a bad day in the startup, a full bad day. You can have a bad 10 minutes, you can have a bad hour, you can have a bad 2 hours. You can't have a bad day. You've got to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and move forward straight away. And it's not a case. If you're in, and this isn't me berating corporates, but you can be a little bit of a victim in a really safe environment. And the mentality I adopt is not why me, it's what now.
Yeah. Not everyone, and let's for I know a lot of absolute savages in corporates who are like, they're in that startup mentality in a corporate where they're just pushing themselves all the time, pushing their teams. So I think it's just easy to fall into a trap of comfort.
Absolutely. Yeah.
A friend was round at ours the other day who works for a big corporate. That's just far much information, but they're on a call whilst hanging out with my wife, like a couple of my wife's friends. They're on a call, they're working, but at our house with the kids, and it's like that level of engagement just does not. It doesn't resonate with me. Like that's to me, it's somebody who's just not interested in what they do day to day. But work is a significant part of your life. This work-life balance thing it's kind of fucking bullshit. Really.
Yeah.
It's like you spend as much time in work with as you do anything else. So like you want to be engaged with it at least.
Absolutely, engagement and finding purpose. And don't get me wrong, you do have a purpose in a corporate. I mean, you know me for a fair few years now. I'm always upbeat. I'm always wanting to get the job done. And every time when I went into my last job at the airport, you're keen, that'll soon wear off. I'm like, no, it won't. It didn't wear off.
Yeah, oval is the wrong word because you operate with it all the time. But I used to, I've still got it written on my board. It's acronym CAGE, which is like competitive, be competitive, operate with an abundance mindset, practice gratitude every day, and always engage with a level of enthusiasm. Yeah. CAGE. And that enthusiasm thing's so difficult to do. You are one of the most enthusiastic people that I know.
And you, Ben, I mean, you are the second most competitive person I know after me.
No, I'm more competitive.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not. No, yeah, I just
nearly.
I think it's important. I think that's sport and stuff, though, right?
Yeah, really, really important.
That's what I hate losing. Just anything.
Yeah.
But my family's like, I think you brought up. I don't know about you, but
yeah. Well, I mean, and that enthusiasm. What's the point in turning up to anything half-hearted? What do you get? I mean, reap what you sow. You get out of everything what you put into it. And if you go in with that winning mindset, that competitive edge, all right, we're going to do this. but we're going to be the best ever.
Yeah.
Just like, wow. And all of a sudden, you instead of being, and this is what I found a lot, it's really easy to be compliant. These are the rules, these are the framework that we operate in. Being compliant, and this is it, Manley Hopkinson.
I don't know him, but I know of him.
Absolute legend. Read his book and he just called it out. The difference in being committed to being compliant. It's a completely different mindset. If you're committed to achieving something, you bust that framework, you get it done. And
It's easier to ask for forgiveness than it is to ask for permission.
Correct.
Yeah.
There you go. Love
So
it.
I said this to a big corporate yesterday's team. We were talking about like, we need to get marketing signed off with the marketing team. I was like, that's probably going to take ages.
Let's just do it.
Let's just do it, and we'll do it. And
If it goes wrong, blame me.
it's true, isn't it? Yeah, it's true. Well, I think that's a good segue to you giving some kind of feedback to the listeners. So we would usually end on 3 actionable takeaways from a guest. So I'd love to hear 3 actionable takeaways from Jim Holland, Jimbo.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think really in life, this isn't just about business. This is just in life in general. So always do what you say you're going to do. Really easy, right?
Yeah.
But how many people, especially when you're in startup world, dealing with people, tell you they're going to do something and don't?
Yeah.
I mean, crikey, the amount of people that don't respond to emails, unreal. Number 2, listen more than you talk. I find that difficult, do you?
I very much find that difficult.
Demanded both of us together.
Yeah.
And then get the basics right every day. Basics, routines. I mean, how good are we at routines? I have a startup routine every single day. If you get the basics right, it makes the hard stuff easy.
I think that's the most challenging thing being a startup is actually routine. I lose my routine.
When?
I because I need routine. I like to operate with a routine that's consistent every day.
Yeah, me too.
If I could do the exact same thing every day in terms of starting the day, I would 100% do it. But when you get older, it's not as easy. Like, my little lad, I need to take my little lad to nursery on Tuesday.
Yeah.
I go for a walk with Andy Wright and Karen Gallantry on a Friday at 7:00. Like, these things throw your routine out. And
No, but that is a routine.
yeah, but it's not the same routine. I used to, when I first got out, I was at a company called Rico, and we worked in Staines. So I would travel to Staines.
Yeah.
I'd go to the gym in Staines. I'd do phys every morning. I'd be the first in the office. So I'd be training at 5:15. I'd get into the office for 6:30. I'd have some breakfast in Sainsbury's.
Yeah.
I'd work. That was my routine. I love that kind of, that is the thing every day. So I think that might be a military thing. But I think it is more difficult when you get older, when you're doing civilian roles, to actually build that consistent routine in, because things change every day.
Of course they do. But there are certain controllables that you can control.
Yeah.
So for me, meditation, non-negotiable every single day. I woke up in the Union Jack Club, terrible night's sleep this morning. First thing I do, meditate. So if it means, and I look on a Sunday what my week looks like, and I'm thinking, right, that day, that's going to be 5:30, just to get that extra half hour in, because I need to travel up to London. So you just control the controllables. And if you get the basics right every day and get yourself in the right mindset, it's hard with young kids, because if you've got someone running into your bedroom at 3:00 in the morning because they want to put the bike helmet on. I mean, that
was just for people listening. That is literally what happened last night to us. He wasn't in his bedroom. He's in his bedroom. I was waiting for his bike helmet on.
It happened to me too in the Union Jack Club. I don't know who the kid was, but he got a helmet.
Well, on that note, Jim. Thanks for joining us. I was looking forward to speaking to you. We speak a lot.
We do speak a lot. Maybe not enough, Ben, and it's always a pleasure. Never a chore.
Thanks for coming, Jim. How can people get in touch?
Through the Karma website, karma.earth. That's Karma with a C, or drop me an email. LinkedIn, follow us on LinkedIn, follow Karma on LinkedIn.
Big guy on LinkedIn.
Yes, loads.
Little influencer.
Yeah, well, look, yeah, you're nearly a bit bigger than you, but there you go.
No, appreciate it, Jim. Appreciate it. See you next time.
Ciao.
If you enjoyed the episode, please follow us on Spotify and Apple. leave us a 5-star review, and join the redeployable community. Thanks.